I have seen a lot of people say that, you know, Black Lives Matter that's inherently racist even to say that. And yeah, I mean, I think I think it's a misunderstanding of what people mean when they say it. Nobody's trying to say Black Lives Matter and others don't. And this is really the only area of life where we do this, act like you can't focus on something specific. It's really only with this particular phrase, Black Lives Matter, which I think may prove the point. We never have a problem, advocating for specific things. You watch a baseball game in certain months and everybody has pink everything because there is necessary specific attention given to breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. But nobody's like, oh, what about all the other cancer? Even some who don't like Black Lives Matter will contest it, strangely, with Blue Lives Matter because they want to focus on particular cops. Nobody's saying, what about firefighters? Black Lives Matter, the reason they say Blue Lives Matter is because they feel like people are not valuing the lives of police, and officers should be respected and valued, and they're necessary and should be honored. But the reason people feel a need to say Black Lives Matter is because in the history of our country, the overwhelming message that's been sent is that they don't, from the very beginning. Even down to being written in our documents that we're 3/5 of a human, in terms of how to count Black people. So for me, the sentiment Black Lives Matter is a necessary one, and it's not saying that other lives don't. And I think it helps if you'll try to separate that phrase, Black Lives Matter, from maybe a video you saw of somebody at a protest saying something crazy. And I think that's what a lot of people have been able to do. They've been able to focus in on one or two crazy people who said something crazy at a Black Lives Matter thing, and they say, oh, well, look, this is what everyone thinks. This whole movement is this anti-police thing. And for me, I'm not necessarily just associating myself with that organization. That sentiment, Black Lives Matter, is a good one. The organization is trying to fight against police brutality, which I think is a necessary fight. And so I think the conversation could be moved forward if we listen to each other a little bit better. And if we stopped assuming, well, when he says that, he means he doesn't like, well, if we did a little bit better job of listening to one another and having those conversations in a civil way, I think we could, progress the conversation a lot more. Because I'll see often when I say something about any of these kinds of issues, for instance, there was a shooting recently where a guy was just sitting on the ground with his hands up and he was trying to help this autistic kid he was caring for, and he got shot. And, I just retweeted someone just saying the facts of what happened. Someone said, why are you putting forward this false narrative? All cops aren't racist. And I had said nothing about racism. I had said nothing about this particular. It was literally just saying the facts. But I think what happens is we kind of put people in boxes. If he says anything about Black people, that means he's these people who da-da-da. If he says anything about cops, that means they're these people who. I think we do a better job if we listen to one another a little bit better and stop assuming and throwing one another in the boxes. Then we can actually have a conversation where I can learn from you and what you're saying, you can learn from me and what we're saying. And as we understand each other's burdens, we can love one another better. But I will not have people tell me that I'm not allowed to fight for justice or fight for the value of life made in the image of God. God's called me to do that. He's called all of us to do that. And so that's not something that people are going to be able to silence and say, you're not allowed to fight for that. I can, I will, and God has called me to.